know I got the receipts, girl. You know I got the receipts. The future of health is clear with Ritual. Daily essentials with good intentions for living life or creating it. Now, Ritual has the multivitamin for women, prenatal vitamins, a daily shake, and a multivitamin for men. Those are just some of their products. Ritual is easy to start and easy to cancel. Now, Ritual's team of scientists and nutritional experts are on a mission to turn your new healthy habit into a ritual. They offer free shipping, control of your own delivery date, free and easy cancellation, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So click the link in the description box and get started today at making Ritual part of your daily health regimen. Cellars is the monthly wine club that matches you with wine that you'll love. Get started by taking the Taste Palette quiz to see your personalized matches. Now, Bright Cellars matches you with wines from all over the world, curated to your taste buds. They are focused on finding unique hidden gems from small vineyards all over the world. And with hundreds of private label wines, you'll be able to try a new wine you've never tasted before. All you need to do is take their 7-question quiz so they can gather your taste preferences and deliver wines you're guaranteed to love. Each box is completely unique to your taste palette, meaning no box is ever the same. Each box comes with wine education cards for each bottle that outline the tasting notes, suggested pairings, best serving temperatures, and its origins. Wine wisdom cards help show you how to store and open your wine, keeping it tasting fresh for longer. Now, all Sweet Pea Diaries viewers will get 60% off your first purchase by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks again to Bright Cellars Wines for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, welcome back to the Sweet Pea Diaries. It's your girl Sweet Pea and I am back with another video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new subscriber, welcome to the Sweet Pea Diaries. Be sure to like this video, share this video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, y'all know what time it is. All right, guys, so who we got in the building? We got Carlandra Denson, Mrs. Jordan, Maya, Christine. My moderator is Nikki, not Nikki, baby. Trick Mama, Laverne Hicks. Hey, Laverne. Mwah. We got Yvonne Evans. We got Lady. We got Marva CB. And as everyone, please come in. You guys have a seat as you come in. Get comfortable and enjoy the show. So tonight we're going to be doing a piece. We're going to be doing a true crime piece, live piece on Lauren Smith Fields. Now, if you have not heard of Lauren is a young Black woman who was tragically met her demise in Connecticut in her apartment while on a Bumble date. Now, if you don't know what Bumble is, that's an app, a dating app. And she hooked up with a Caucasian male on this dating app just 3 days after meeting him on the app. She had a date with him, invited him to her apartment, and we don't know what took place, but she ended up dead. So we're going to dive into her story. I want you guys to be active in the chat. Um, I have not in this piece, I have not put the picture of the gentleman that was the date, and I have changed his name to Ben, okay? To protect the privacy of Ben, we've changed his name to Ben, all right? But you can go ahead and Google and you can see who it is. But he has not been named a suspect. He's not even been named a person of interest. So because of that, we have to protect his privacy and we're not able to show his face or give his name, okay? So let's just jump right into this story. So Lauren Smith Fields is a 23-year-old Black woman who was found dead in her apartment in mid-December of 2021, shortly after meeting a man from the Bumble dating app. Members of her family have accused the police department of failing to notify them of her death and mishandling the subsequent investigation. And they intend to sue over what their attorney described as racially insensitive handling of her case. So Lauren was born as Lauren Quinonique Smith Fields in Bridgeport, Connecticut on January 23, 1998, to mother Chantel Fields and father Everett Smith. Lauren had 3 brothers and was the only girl amongst her siblings. Lauren was an excellent student. She ran track and was popular. She attended Stamford High School in Stamford, Connecticut. Now, after graduating from high school, she began attending Norwalk Community College. Her ambition was to become a physical therapist. Lauren loved fashion, and in her spare time, she loved posting photos to Instagram. She also posted content on YouTube and TikTok. She was a beautiful girl, so it was no shock to anyone that her following began to grow and increase, which allowed her to start collabing with brands to promote their products. She also worked as an eyebrow specialist and a babysitter. Now, Lauren loved to travel, and she loved to spend time with her family and friends. Lauren was just an all-around lovable person. Her family and friends said that she was a delight and a joy, and then she had a bubbly personality. Her family loved her. Her friends loved her. She was a beautiful person inside and out. Now, at 23, Lauren was a beautiful young lady whose life was on track for success, and she was looking forward to finishing school and beginning a career in physical therapy. Now, in winter of 2021, whether it was out of boredom or searching for companionship, Lauren became active on the Bumble dating site and connected with a man. And like I said, from the, for the sake of privacy, we are not going to be using his real name. So we're going to call him Ben. So on January 20th, Lauren met Ben on Bumble. December 20th. Lauren met Ben on Bumble, and the two hit it off, setting up a date for 3 days later on the 23rd. Okay, just one moment. Now, Lauren invited Ben to her apartment with him, bringing a bottle of Casamigos tequila. So when Ben got to her apartment, he showed up and he had a bottle of Casamigos tequila. Now, the two enjoyed the tequila. They were taking shots. They were having a good time. But Lauren became ill and she went to the bathroom and vomited. She apologized and the two continued drinking, eating, playing games, and watching a movie. Now, while the two were having a good time, Ben noticed that Lauren was texting someone. And when he asked Lauren who she was texting, she said that she was texting her brother because she was waiting on him to drop something off to her. And not too long after that, Lauren's brother arrived and she went outside to retrieve the items that he and his other sister, so I guess he had a sister from, I guess their dad, his dad or whatever, but it was Lauren's half sister, wasn't her sister. Okay, so stepsister, they didn't have the same dad. So his sister had brought while Christmas shopping for a family holiday celebration. Now, when Lauren returned to her apartment, she allegedly went into the bathroom for 10 to 15 minutes before returning to watch a movie and continue to drink with her date, Ben. Now, the events that occurred next are according to Ben and from police reports pertaining to the incident. So Ben says Lauren fell asleep on the couch. So Ben carried her to her bedroom, placed her on the bed, and lay down next to Lauren before falling asleep himself. Now, around 3 a.m., Ben claims to have woke up to use the bathroom, and at that time, he heard Lauren snoring. So he went back to sleep, but then he woke up again around 6:30 to use the restroom again. But this time, he found that Lauren was motionless and blood was coming out of her nose. Ben called 911, and when officers arrived, they said that Ben was frantic, trembling, and visibly shaken. According to police reports, they say that Lauren was on the floor of the bedroom with the blood coming from her nose. Now, Ben told police that he had performed chest compressions on Lauren as instructed by the emergency 911 operator when he had called in. They told him to start the compressions, and he said that he'd done so. Now, when they arrived, a medic, obviously seeing Lauren motionless, went over to her body, examined her, and pronounced Lauren dead at 6:49 a.m. and noted that she had been dead for at least an hour. So if we think about the timeline, if Ben says that he woke up at 3 a.m. and at that time Lauren was sleeping and he could hear her snoring. However, when he woke up again at 6:30 to use the bathroom, she was lifeless. So if she was dead for an hour already when the medics pronounced her dead at 6:49, then that means she would have had to slip away around 5:49 while the two lay sleeping next to each other, if this is according to Ben's story. Now, officers took a few items as evidence, including Lauren's passport, her cell phone, over $1,300 in cash, and a credit card, according to the police report. Now, as the lead detective left, he told the landlord of Lauren's apartment to give Lauren's family his phone number if they came to the apartment. So instead of calling himself, he told the landlord, hey, if they call, give them my number. If they come by, give them my number. So Lauren's family had been calling her because Christmas dinner was supposed to be at her apartment that year, but no one had been able to get in contact with her. So they went over to Lauren's apartment, and when they got there, a note was on the door saying, if you're looking for Lauren, call this number. So Lauren's mother was immediately alarmed and concerned. She said she was in disbelief and could not believe what she was reading, but immediately called the number on the note. Her brother, Tavar Graysmith, said that when they called the number, a detective told them that she had passed away. Now, they asked the detective, why didn't anyone contact the family? And the detective told them that they didn't need to reach out to the family members because, quote, they had Lauren's passport in her ID. So they had ID'd her and they knew who she was. So because they knew who she was, there was no need to contact the family. Now, officers did collect some items from the scene like cash, her passport, the credit card, and the cell phone as evidence. Now, keep in mind, that's all they collected, okay? Now, later down in the story, you're going to find out other evidence that was at the scene that they actually left behind. All right, so at that time, when they got her body and everything, they only took from the scene the $1,300 in cash, her passport, a credit card, and her cell phone. Now, the detective did not attempt to contact the family. The detective broke protocol, which dictates that the next of kin must be notified of a death, ideally in person. It doesn't have to be in person, but they like it to be in person. You get that knock at the door, at the early hours of the morning or in the wee hours of night and all that, you get that knock at the door. So they really like you to do it within 24 hours. But this did not happen in Lauren's case. When the family called in to the detective, they said that he promised to come to their home to discuss Lauren's case and investigation, but he never came. They kept calling him back saying, "Are you coming?" And he said to them, "Listen, don't call me anymore. We're working on it." The family says the detective had no kind of empathy or nothing for the family. He actually hung up on them. So because of the way that the officials have handled Lauren's death, her family has had no choice but to hire an attorney to help them get justice. Now, Darnell Crossland is representing the family, and they have accused the police department of failing to notify them of Lauren's death and mishandling the subsequent investigation. And they intend to sue over the police department's racially insensitive handling of the case. Now, Lauren's family says potentially key pieces of evidence were not processed until 2 weeks later, when the police returned to Lauren's apartment at the family's urging. Those items include bloodied sheets, drinks, a pill, and a condom with semen in it. Now, Ben, during his questioning, has stated that the two did not engage in intercourse. So, whose semen was in that condom? Okay, but this was left behind. These things were not even collected. The family actually found these items because they went to Lauren's apartment to clean out her apartment and gather her things 2 weeks later after her funeral, and they found these items. So they thought that this was key evidence, so they left it there and called the police immediately and made them come get these items. Okay. Now, the family also alleges that the police have refused to interview Ben, the man who reported her death as a person of interest. The family says that when they asked about Ben, the initial detective on the case said that Ben was a nice guy, so there was no need to investigate. They also said that the first detective assigned to the case told them to stop calling in to ask about the investigation, and at one point hung up on Lauren's father, saying, "Don't call. We're investigating it." They were told that the detective has since been removed from the investigation because of his actions. Now, the family has called for the state to conduct an independent probe and for legislators to pass a law that would require families to be notified of relatives' death in a timely manner. They have also reportedly paid out of pocket for an independent autopsy and have set up a GoFundMe in the hopes of hiring a private investigator to conduct their own investigation and pay for the autopsy, because the Connecticut office of the chief medical examiner ruled Lauren's death as an accident resulting from an overdose of fentanyl combined with prescription medication, which was promethazine and alcohol. So they are saying that she died from fentanyl combined with promethazine, alcohol, prescription medication. The family is saying that Lauren was not a drug user. There was no reason for these substances to be in her system. So they're saying something is suspicious, but they ruled it an accident. Now, the Bumble dating app has released several statements in the wake of Lauren's death. And in their statement, the company said that it had contacted Lauren's family directly to offer their support, and they were ready to provide information as requested by law enforcement. However, Bumble spokesman said that law enforcement has not even requested any customer information to date. So they are willing to give over the man's profile information, communication that may have taken place between him and Lauren to see what they had been talking about, but no one has asked for the information to date. Now, BuzzFeed News noted that people have been posting about the case and the lack of progress that has been going on with Lauren's case. There's been a public outcry for justice for Lauren on TikTok and Instagram. And due to that, Cardi B got a hold of this case. So she tweeted about the tragedy, stating that the state of Connecticut had failed Lauren. So because of that, it sparked the story to be shared and talked about. And the family's attorney later told TMZ that Cardi B tweeting and bringing attention to Lauren's case was actually instrumental in getting the police to open a criminal probe. Now, the growing calls for justice and the announcement of a criminal investigation have prompted an explosion in media coverage. Now, in a statement, the mayor in that area acknowledged the unanswered questions and concerns surrounding Lauren's death and shared that he's referred the matter to the Office of Internal Affairs to conduct a full investigation. He stated there is no tolerance for anything less than respect and sensitivity for family members and their loss. I share concerns echoed by many about the amount of time and manner a family is informed of a loss. Death notification should be done in a manner that illustrates dignity for the deceased and respect and compassion for the family. He also said he'll work with the chief of police to amend the department's policy surrounding notifying family members of deaths, and that he had reached out to the state medical examiner's office to expedite the matter. Now, when the family inspected Lauren's home after learning of her death, their lawyer alleges that they were the ones who found the used condom, a sedative pill, the blood-stained sheet, an overturned plate of food, and bottles of alcohol. The investigators that initially came to the scene did not collect these things. They had just left them there. So you can, of course, imagine that the family is outraged, and the lawyer said in a statement, you definitely want to get the sheet, the condom. You'd want to take pictures of the overturned plate. After we forced them to collect it on December 29th, I called the state forensic lab, and the woman who answered the phone said that the police department has not made a submission. So even after the lawyer had them take this evidence, they still have not submitted it to the forensic lab to go over it. So the attorney's family also says that when speaking to Lauren's brother, a detective had described Lauren's date, Ben, as a nice man and told the brother, don't jump to any conclusions about this with Ben because he's a nice guy and I don't think he would have hurt your sister. But Lauren's family said that they are outraged and they're prepared to fight for justice for Lauren. They said we will not stop until we get justice for Lauren and the thousands of Black girls that go missing in this country every year. We owe them equal rights and justice regardless of race, and we're not going to stop fighting until we get it. Now, since things have heated up with Lauren's family and the attorney pressing everyone, the mayor has had those two Bridgeport, Connecticut detectives involved in the case placed on administrative leave, and they're being investigated by the police department's internal affairs office. Now, disciplinary actions may have also been taken against the detectives due to a lack of sensitivity to the public and failure to follow police policy. The mayor said it is an unacceptable failure if policies were not followed. To the families, friends, and all who care about the human decency that should be shown in these situations, in this case, by members of the Bridgeport Police Department, I am very sorry. So now, what are the discrepancies in this story, okay? What are the discrepancies? According to the police report, Ben said that Lauren asked him for $40 for her nails to get done. All right, she wanted $40 to get her nails done. So when you come meet me, bring me $40. So he showed up with the $40, met her at her Bridgeport residence, and there they took shots of tequila. Ben told police that Lauren became ill, went to the bathroom to vomit, right? Remember that detail. Now, following her vomiting, she came back, and then they just continued to drink again. Drink more tequila with mixers. They allegedly played games, they ate food, and they began to watch a movie. And then Lauren started texting, and she got a text from her brother. The report says that she went outside to get something from her brother, and upon returning back to her apartment, she went straight to the bathroom for 10 to 15 minutes. Now, this is all according to Ben. Nobody knows, because this is all Ben, so we don't have any other, accounts. Lauren's not here to speak for herself. Ben said he thought that it was odd that she went outside, got something, and then went to the bathroom for 10 to 15 minutes. So you can see where this is going. You can see what he's trying to insinuate. She went in there and was doing something. He says that he thought it was odd, but he didn't feel it was his place to say anything, as he didn't know her that well. That's what the officer noted. That is what Ben stated. The family has raised multiple questions about the police report. According to Lauren's mother, Chantel Fields, and the brother, Lakeem Jeter, Lauren's nails had been done earlier that week, and they still were so intact that her nails didn't need to even be done for her funeral. So why would she ask him for $40 to get her nails done when her nails were already done? And they collected over $1,300 from the scene. It was Lauren's money. So why would she need $40 from anyone if she had over $1,300? The police report also noticed the police report also doesn't match the story of Lauren's brother, who was the last family member to see Lauren alive that night, because he said, "I hadn't texted my sister since December 4th, recounting the night of December 11th when he called Lauren to bring out his basket of clothes he was picking up. He says, "I didn't know that anybody was in there. She came out and she was out there for like 10 to 15 minutes and she walked back into the house. She looked normal. She didn't look sick. She didn't look tired. She didn't look drunk. I'm her second older brother. If I would have seen her drunk, I would have said, 'What are you doing? Why do you look like that?'" So he's saying she didn't look drunk at all. She didn't look like there was anything wrong with her. But Ben insists that they were taking shots. They were drinking mixers, tequila with mixers. And the brother saying, "Well, when I pulled up on her and she came out, she didn't look intoxicated at all." He said if she had have, he would have said something to her. Now, the police report states that Lauren and the man continued to watch the movie, finishing the bottle of tequila when she fell asleep on the couch. Now, he's stating they drunk an entire bottle of tequila. All right. So the man told the officers that Lauren fell asleep on the couch, but the man was up and continued to watch the movie, finishing the bottle of tequila. So the man told officers that he then carried Lauren to her bedroom where they both went to sleep. At 3 a.m., he said he went to use the restroom and she was snoring. At 6:30, he said that she was laying on her side, her right side, with blood coming out of her right nostril, and she was not breathing. So then he called 911. Now, following the police's arrival, Lauren's landlord was contacted, but he did not have any family contact information. It wasn't until days later that when Lauren's mother, Chantel Fields, went to the apartment to see why Lauren had not been answering numerous calls and texts from the family, that she found a note from the landlord that said, "If you're looking for Lauren, please contact this number." So Lauren had not even put on emergency contact. I guess there was no application, didn't have an emergency contact. Her mother or anyone, the landlord, did not know how to contact her family. So this is when Chantel was informed of her daughter's death through a phone call, not even from the police. They already knew 2 days that the girl had passed, and no one informed the family. So nowhere in the police report did the officers mention detaining Ben for questioning, despite him being the last person who saw Lauren before her death. Now, him being the last person, you would think he would be detained and questioned, but he was not. During the press conference, Lauren's brother Jeter said that police told him that the reason that they didn't bring the man into question, again, because he was a nice guy. Now, in the police report, the patrol officer notes that Ben was frantic. He was frantic when the police got there. When the emergency responders and everybody, he was frantic. Now, on December 12th, the police reports indicate that officers confiscated Lauren's phone, $1,345 in cash, keys, and her passport. On December 29th, 3 days following Lauren's funeral, as the family cleaned out her apartment, they found a used condom with semen in the trash, lube, bloody sheets, and an unidentified pill. So 29th, 3 days after her funeral, you see how much time has passed? 2 weeks have passed, and that evidence just sat in the apartment. The bloody sheets, the condom, lubrication, an unidentified pill. So what type of investigation went on in that apartment when they came and got her body? How could you overlook those items and just leave them there? How is it that the family had to make them come back and get this evidence? And then when the lawyer checked on it, they still have not entered it in as evidence. The family is having it examined. Later that week, the family said they also received a visit from a detective named Garcia. His visit was the first time the family said that police came to conduct a crime scene investigation, but the majority of the evidence had been packed, such as the dishes and the bloody sheets. The first night we saw cups there, flip plates, and the lube. The cops didn't take any of the cups to test the liquor. There was a big stain of blood in the middle of her bed, the brother said, with streaks going down to the right side. During Garcia's visit, the family described him as unprofessional. When speaking about the previous detective that had been on the case and was removed, he cussed and said, F Cronin. He got kicked off the case. He's a effing a-hole. He then tried to reassure Lauren's brother by saying, hey, I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm on your side as a black man. I understand. I have daughters. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Just do your job. You guys are already not doing that well. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're just now getting this evidence. The family had to come there, stumble upon it. I mean, that had to be traumatic for the mom and the brother to come in there and see a used condom with semen in it, a pill that's unidentified, and no one gathered this evidence. Now, stating that he was Puerto Rican, that was supposed to assure the brother that he's going to handle the case because I'm, Hispanic. I'm a minority, so I understand these things. Now, when the family was finally able to speak to Bridgeport law enforcement, they had to do so in an interrogation room. And that's when they saw a different side of Detective Garcia that actually made them uncomfortable. He said, the brother said, when I mentioned the F. Cronin statement to Garcia in that interrogation room, he turned into a maniac, saying I would never talk bad about another colleague, and said that you're a liar. Told Lauren's brother he was lying. And Lauren's brother said, I'm not lying. That is what you said, dude. You said that F. Cronin, and he's went in a maniac role saying, nope, you're lying. So the family's attorney said that to date, the evidence has not been submitted to the proper channels or the forensic science lab. For the past few years, the Bridgeport Police Department has been under scrutiny for corruption within the department. Former Chief of Police Armando J. Perez was sentenced to 12 months in prison last April for his participation in a scheme to defraud the city by rigging the 2018 police chief examination to solidify his position as chief. So that is an example of the corruption, just how high the corruption is in that department. A city council member by the name of Maria Pereira spoke at a press conference saying, as somebody who was born and raised here in Bridgeport, it's incredibly corrupt. Most people know we had a police chief who went to prison. We've had 5 public officials indicted by the feds, and we had a mayor who went to federal prison. The police department has been in shambles for 4 or 5 years. We have over 100 vacancies in the Bridgeport Police Department right now. So, hey, if you're looking for a job and you are in law enforcement, go on down to Bridgeport. You probably can make a difference because they have 100 vacancies. Now, January 23rd would have been Lauren's 24th birthday, where she would have been getting ready to board an airplane because she was scheduled to go to Greece with her grandmother. But instead, her family had a march from Bridgeport Police Department to the Bridgeport City Hall to commemorate, however you say it, commemorate her death and demand the city to act. Now, many have compared Lauren's death to the case of Gabby Petito, a white woman who disappeared during an extended road trip with her boyfriend. And after being national news on a daily basis, she was subsequently found dead. So they're saying it's happening all too often with black girls missing across the world, across this country, and no one says anything, says Lauren's family attorney. When a white woman goes missing, the whole world drops everything. We are done with this valuation. When black women go missing, nobody cares. Black women are murdered. No one does anything. This investigation was a shambles, and I feel so sorry for the family. I mean, what do you guys think about this story? I mean, it's horrible. I'm going to take and check on your comments. Gloria says, she is very pretty. May she rest in peace. Oh, let's see what's going on with this. What happened to her? Let's fix these. There we go. Who says, let's see what else you guys are saying. Right. Sasha says, call numbers in the cell phones. Draft says, something sounds like date R. Marva says, so sad, horrible investigation. Nikki says, get the F out of here, right? Baltimore says, shaking my head. Gloria says, what do they mean they didn't need to call her family? That don't make any sense. When my son passed away, it was 2 officers that came to my house. Rest in peace, and I am so sorry. My condolences for your son, but that is exactly, yep. Oh my God, was she drugged and armed by the date and somebody else? Because they were being filmed in the interrogation room. Damn, whole system a mess, right? Connecticut is only 12% black, would never move there, right? And that's a really great comment. I know a lot of people have been saying that lately about black people, getting in these neighborhoods and getting involved in these communities where they are the minority. We're going to always be the minority, but you know what I mean? These, you get in these towns where it's a lot of white people versus black people. And then you got white friends, and you go and you, just like we're going to cover that story with the woman that went with her friends and she found dead in their backyard, only black woman at this sleepover, and we all want to move to good neighborhoods and we all want to do these things, but sometimes it doesn't, benefit us to move in these neighborhoods because they don't care about us. When we go missing, when we get murdered, when things happen to us, it's just like, okay, oh well, what do you want us to do? I mean, to say he is a good, seems like a nice guy. He's a good guy. I wouldn't worry too much about him. He's a good guy. Okay, but then we have, on the flip side, we have people that have this theory where they don't know what, okay, so a lot of people would say, she's 23, she's a young woman. She's on the Bumble app. What is she doing on the Bumble dating app? She's beautiful, she's pretty. Why would she need to be on that app? And why would she be with a white man? Why would she be found with a white man with over $1,300 in her possession, right? She's an influencer on Instagram. She's only doing eyebrows and a babysitter. She's not making that much money. She's in college to become physical therapist as a career. So she's really shouldn't be having this much money. What is she doing with it? So the assumption is that she was on Bumble actually getting dates, right? And being paid for these dates. And that when she went out, she had just met this man 3 days ago. She brings him to her house. They're on a date, really, a paid date. And then she goes out with her brother. She goes out to her brother's car and she goes and grabs whatever it is that she potentially OD'd off of in the bathroom. That's what the story is, that she did this to herself accidentally because whatever she was into, she did it. She went in the bathroom. The promethazine, the fentanyl or whatever was laced, the pill could have been laced with fentanyl, and she usually may have gotten pills that weren't laced with fentanyl because there's an epidemic now where people getting fake pills and they're, ODing, and she didn't realize that the pill had fentanyl in it. So they're saying, even though the family is saying, hey, she doesn't do drugs, we know her, the narrative is you don't always know what your grown child is doing. Even though they're 23 and they're still your baby, you don't know what they're doing. And she could have been involved in having a whole nother life that you didn't know about. And that she OD'd, that it didn't have anything to do with the gentleman. And which is why he's not being investigated. He's not been named a suspect. He's not been named a person of interest. Okay, but let's just say those things we can say that maybe that story is something you can look into. Why would he lie and say that they didn't have any intercourse? Why would he, say that she asked for $40 to get her nails done? She didn't need her nails done. The family says her nails were impeccable. In fact, they were so impeccable that she didn't need to get them done for the funeral. They didn't have to do anything to them. So there's just holes in his story, but the fact that they haven't even questioned him any further, interrogate him at all, they have no interest, haven't submitted any of the evidence to the forensic lab to be examined. What is the reasoning behind that? So it's just a lot with this story. But the flip side of that, there is another young woman that also went missing and was murdered or found dead or met her demise this in the same town. And her death wasn't handled properly either. So Sasha says, we always hear about how racist they are down south, but they are just as bad in the Midwest and the North. Yep. Gloria says, I know how the mother feels when your child has passed on. It's a hard pill to swallow. My heart goes out to the family. Exactly. Hey, Life with the Leonard family. Where the other semen was supposed to have come from. Exactly. Like, whose semen would it have been? But they didn't test it. They haven't taken, in that instance, if you find semen in a condom, a used condom, then you need to get the DNA. You need to get the DNA from Ben, and you need to test it up against what was found in the condom. Okay, and then it's going to be like, now we found your lie. You said that you didn't have intercourse, but why is your semen in that condom? How did it get there? So there's a lot of inconsistencies with the story, but because he's not being investigated and the story isn't being looked into, how are they going to get to the bottom of it? But the family has hired a black attorney. What is his name? Daryl, what is it? Let's get the name right. The attorney's name is Darnell Crossland, and he is. I've seen the brother speak. I've seen him talk. He is excellent at what he does. Um, and if anything, he's going to get to the bottom of it. He's been pushing for justice. He's been pushing for the investigation to get underway. They're going to have the independent autopsy done. They're going to have the evidence examined, which is why they set up a GoFundMe. I think at the time of this story, they had over $25,000. I'm pretty sure that they've raised more money since then, but this is all going to pay for legal fees and pay for the investigation and pay for the autopsy, because it's going to take a couple, a pretty penny to have these things done independently. The fact that they even have to do that is just horrible. The fact that the family, when they have resources, thank you, Life with the Leonard family. Child, I'm going to tell you, this is a glue, okay? I straightened out y'all know I was complaining I ain't had my hair done in a while. I still can't afford to get my hair done. Child, this is glued in, okay? I straightened out my hair and just glued in some tracks. I just did the old cheap and honey and bumped my ends. Child, I just did something quick and fast. Something cheap, quick, and fast. Girls can't afford no hair and can't afford no hairdos around here, honey. Old school, we got to make it work, okay? We know how to make it work. But this is a sad story. It's just a sad story all the way around. And I can't imagine being this woman's, mother and parents. And, I mean, they went there to clean out her apartment, right? They went there to pack it up after the funeral. They went there to pack it up. Thank you, boo. They went there to pack it up. And they find the drinks are still there. I seen somebody in the comments ask, did they test the drinks? No. The drink, what if it had the, whatever was used to subdue her? What if the drinks were contaminated? Thank you, Adriana. You're so sweet. You guys are so sweet. Where are the black women from Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement? Girl, MIA. MIA. Where are they at? Right? But black women are the most unprotected. We are, no one thinks about us. We just discarded, but if they didn't, you went there to you went there to pack up the apartment. You see the drinks on the counter. You see overturned. Why were the plates overturned? Why was the food? Why, what was going on in there that the plates were overturned? Was there a struggle? Was there some type of fight? So they said that they discovered overturned plates, drinks on the counter, an unidentified pill, a damn used condom with semen still in it. Didn't even have the decency to flush it down the toilet when you were done with it. You just dropped it in the, that's just disgusting. That tells a lot about someone's demeanor that does stuff like that. It's like you discarded her. You didn't have no type of, decent feelings towards her. Your intentions were off. When you just you fling it into the trash. You didn't flush it. Wasn't no cleanup, nothing. Just, it's like you already viewing her like a piece of trash. You know what I'm saying? So none of these things were, taken. Right. The entire investigation was botched, and this lady and her family will never see justice. It pisses me off. They should sue the city and the state. They are. They actually are suing. Hey, Information Man Show. Thank you. Exactly. And they actually are suing. Yep. They have submitted their intention to sue the city. So that is what they are doing. But this is just sad. It's all the way around. I don't even see, where this is, where they think that this is acceptable. And then you don't notify the family of her passing, right? So when they got there and she had, she was deceased, they leave a note on the door because the landlord cannot locate a emergency number or anything. They don't notify the family, but they told them days later when the family was made aware, when they called themselves, they said we knew who she was, so we didn't need to call. We didn't need to identify. We didn't need to notify you because we knew who she was. So when was anybody going to call? Like if the family, so what you was going to let it go like a week or whatever, and if they didn't call, it would have been like her body just would have been sitting down at the morgue. She wouldn't have been a Jane Doe because y'all ID'd her. You know who she was. You had her passport. You know, you knew who she was. So that means you knew you could get in contact with her family. You knew that there was a way to do that, but you decided not to. And said, if her family comes around here looking for her, give them my number. They had every right to be suspended. They should have been fired, you know, suspended with pay, that type of thing. No, they should have been fired. Yes, the family should sue. Yes, I'm glad they're suing. That's so sad. Exactly. Well, honestly, it's starting to smell like the cops could be involved, especially if they had another unsolved murder of another young black. Yes, they did. Yep. They had her cell phone just wrong. And you already know in the cell phone, you know your family, your mom is listed as mommy or mom or whatever. You know, in my phone, my children are listed as baby 1, 2, and 3, baby girl, baby boy, baby girl with a heart. You know, I have them listed like that. In my daughter's phone, I'm listed as my everything with my photo. Like, you know who the mother is. And so they knew who to call just by looking at that, you know, her contacts, you know, but they didn't, you know, they chose not to. So this just stinks all the way around the board. We pray for justice. We pray that the family has some type of closure soon. But I do know that they're instrumental in a bill that they're passing about, you know, notifying your family timely. But I mean, that's just common sense. Why does a bill have to be passed? That should already be somewhere. And I mean, they did say that it's 24 hours. Like, ideally, it's 24 hours for the family to be notified. And ideally, they like you to do it face to face, really not over the phone, because that's impersonal. That kind of news you want to deliver to the family respectfully, you know, in person. It's already hard news. I wouldn't even want to have that job as a, you know, a police officer, a detective. No, they don't. They really don't care about us. Absolutely not. Oh, thank you. You know, it's a leave out show. You know, this my hair in the front, but then it's a little, maybe like a little piece added. This me up at the top. And then, you know, no, they need to investigate that whole police department. Yes, they do. Y'all know we from a different, you know, different generation. We can make it work, child. Child, I said they going I said how they gonna like my little glue in pieces. But thank you guys for the compliments. I appreciate it. Every now and then I like to straighten out my hair, you know, give a new look, give it a little natural look. But you guys, send prayers out to the Smith family, the Smith Fields family. Lauren was a delight, you know, everyone. She was a delight to everyone that knew her. She was studying to be a physical therapist. She was on the right. Look at, she was gorgeous, beautiful. She was an influencer. She was doing collabs with brands. You know, she's beautiful, beautiful. You can tell by her Instagram. I went over to her Instagram page and looked at her posts, and you can tell that she just loved life. She was always smiling. She was always out and about in the world, you know, and she just didn't give drugs. It didn't look to me like she was into anything like that. And that's what they always want to say. It's drugs. They says, what is he trying to say? That she took some type of drugs and that will cause her death? I believe he has something to do with her death. Right. So really what they said, that what was found in her system was the promethazine, and prescription drugs and fentanyl. So they said she died as a combination of accidental overdose with those medicines combined. The family said when they went over there, it was an unidentified pill on the counter. So there are theories that when the brother came to the house that night, to the apartment, and she went outside, she came back in, and Ben says she went to the bathroom and was in there for 10 to 15 minutes, and then she came out, and he didn't want to ask her what she was in there doing because he said it wasn't his place to do that. So he didn't ask her anything about what she was doing. So when she came out, they continued to drink. They continued to take shots of tequila. They watched a movie. And then she fell asleep. He finished off the bottle of tequila. And then around 3 a.m., he put her in the bed. Okay. Well, was it 3 a.m. that he put her in the bed? Because he said he woke up at 3 a.m. So let me get that right. He said, no, he really didn't put a time of when he laid her, when they fell asleep or whatever. But he woke up at 3 a.m. So let's just say, it was prior to 3 a.m. 12, 1, 2, whatever. It was prior to 3 a.m. He makes no mention of them engaging in any intercourse, any type of action. He doesn't mention that, and he actually says that they didn't have action. When, questioned, he said that, when they briefly questioned him or whatever, they still have not taken this man down to the station, interrogated him or anything. But he says that he didn't have any type of intercourse with her, but they found a condom. So what he's really trying to say is that she had something. She had something. When he woke up, he found that her nose was bleeding from the right side. She was laying on the right side and her nose was bleeding from the right nostril. The medics say when they arrived, there was blood from the nostril. They said she had been dead for an hour. So an hour prior, she died. They pronounced her dead at 6:49. So if he woke up at 3, she was breathing because she was snoring and everything. He went back to sleep and woke up again at 6:30, and she wasn't. That's when he found her with the nostril, blood and everything. When they got there, so they got there pretty quickly because from 6:30 and they pronounced her at 6:49. That's really fast. So who knows if that, these are the things that the investigators would be asking. So you really, you mean to tell me that you woke up at 6:30 and that's when you discovered her? But they pronounced her dead at 6:49. So was it really 6:30 when he woke up? Did he wake up at all? Was he just up all that time and decided to call the police at 6:30? Because they got there and pronounced her dead at 6:49. Who knows how long he'd been up? Who knows how long it was since from the time he actually discovered her? Who knows if he really was asleep? We don't know any of this, because there's no questioning. She probably wanted his butt to go home and he couldn't stand the rejection. Did the parents check and make sure she still had all of her organs? That's a big issue now. Killing to get these young black people's organs and stealing them. Yes, I've heard about that. I like her eyes. She was beautiful. Beautiful. I actually have heard of a story about that. I think that would be something good to cover. I'm not even going to ruin it. I'm not even going to ruin it. We do have a story that we can cover about organs and missing, and I have a story about that. So that might be one of our next true crime. Stay tuned. But you guys, this is a tragic story. It's a tragic case. And we're going to be covering stories like this on the channel. We want to take, the time to remember these victims, give them their, celebrate their lives, share their stories and bring awareness for the families. Hopefully that they can get justice, that their life means something, that they're not just to be discarded. She was beautiful. Look at this young lady. Look at her. Absolutely stunning. Just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Just beautiful. I mean, such a waste of life. 23 years old, you know. And this is what they always say about, oh, it's they were involved in things that you don't know. Oh, they were doing drugs, and oh, she was a prostitute. How do you know? We don't know that, you know. So we want to take the time to remember her, and you know, we want her family to get the justice that they deserve, and we want her to get the justice that she deserves. She was beautiful. Look at this. I mean, a model, melanin popping, and then that's her there as a little girl, you know, young. This was her, you know, in high school, her high school days. Just beautiful. Beautiful. That was her, one of her friends in high school. He says that, you know, she was the life of the party. She was popular. She was a track star. You know, just everyone loved her outgoing personality. And you could tell she looked fun, you know. So it's sad. You guys pray for her, pray for her family, pray that they have their justice. And that's it. We're going to cover these stories. We're going to continue to cover stories like this. And yeah. That's all I got, you guys. All right. So this has been another edition of the Sweet Pea Diaries. I want to thank Bright Cellars Wines for sponsoring this video, as well as Ritual Health Products. You guys drop down in the description box below and check out their websites. Of course, you know, when you go over there and you click on those links, those are special discount links for being a viewer here at the Sweet Pea Diaries. With Bright Cellars, you can get a box of 4 wines. I think it's for $45 or something like that. You get 60% off. So going down there, child, I got my wine, my little 4 bottles of wine. And when you take their quiz, it actually, it's geared towards what you like. They ask you personal questions about it. So when you get your wine, it's actually based off of you and your taste palette. So go on over there and tell them that the Sweet Pea Diary sent you. All right? And go on down there and get you some ritual vitamins. Okay. So this has been another edition of the Sweet Pea Diaries. You guys be sure to like this video, share this video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to continue to see more videos like these, make sure you give us a thumbs up. You comment below whatever it is that you want to see us do. You can go ahead and maybe on the community post where we did this community post, you can drop down over there and let us know what stories you might want to see. Drop down in the comment section of this video and let me know what stories you want to see. But we getting ready to go, you guys. I'm gonna take a couple comments and say, yes, they sell different brands of wines. Going over there, yes. There is a story right here in Georgia, down in Valdosta, the young boy who was found in the wrestling mat. Oh my goodness. Yes, we will check that out. But Life with the Leonard Family, yep, they sell all varieties. I have 4 different types. They got red, pink, white. They got all varieties. So go on over there and check out their website. And if you use the link below, you will get 60% off. Okay, not 50, 60. Okay, so be sure to like this video, share the video. Most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Check that mic, make sure it sound right, boy.